In Sequoia Park, you will see unique trees, which are not only gigantic, but also, interestingly, need fire to reproduce. Exploring the park, you will have the impression of being in somehow magical land. Learn more about this stunning place. Sequoia National Park is located in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Its area is 1,635 square kilometers. Despite its small area, the terrain is extremely varied, similarly to the climate and nature there. The highest peak in the U.S. outside Alaska, that is Mount Whitney, which is 4,421 meters high, is located there. The difference between the highest and lowest points of the park is as much as 3,962 meters. Beautiful canyons, glacial basins, numerous lakes and streams diversify the landscape. The climate is also very varied. The western border of the park is dry and hot. The higher you ascend, the cooler it gets, and you will see snow on the highest peaks. Similarly, there are changes in the vegetation, which is extremely rich. In the lowest areas of the park, you will be delighted by chaparral, the equivalent of the Mediterranean macchia, forests of blue oak, and various species of yucca. Above 1,700 meters, magical coniferous forests with many species of pines, firs, and magnificent sequoias or giant mammoth trees begin. Higher up, you will find dwarf trees and alpine-type vegetation. In the park, you will have many opportunities to observe animals, including bears, which are really common here. Sequoia Park was established in 1890 as the second national park after Yellowstone. The area was inhabited by the Monocacy Indians for centuries. They left some traces in the form of petroglyphs at Hospital Rock, among others. White people discovered the sequoias in the mid-19th century. The first colonizer to settle in the area was Hale Tharp. He settled in a house he hollowed out in the trunk of an overturned mammoth tree and undertook cattle grazing. He was also against mass settlement in the area, as he quickly appreciated the magnificence of the sequoias. Unfortunately, in the 1800s, a large group of settlers tried to create a commune there, and they intended to get rich from the mammoth timber trade. They cut down thousands of huge trees before they realized that their wood was soft and easily split, and was actually only suitable for pails or matches. Gradually, more valuable areas were added to the park, which was established in 1890. The last to be added in 1978 was Mineral King, the site of a former mine which the Disney Corporation wanted to turn into a ski resort. More than 80% of the park's area is completely wild. There are no roads or facilities there. One can move around there only on foot or on horseback. You don't have to take notes. We have included all the practical info in the description below the video. That's where you can also find links with accommodation, tickets to attractions, and tips on how to pay abroad so as not to overpay on currency conversions. Tourists come here primarily for the world's largest trees, commonly called giant sequoias, while their correct name is mammoth giant trees. You may also encounter such names as sequoia dendron, mammoth tree, or Vailingtonia. Mammoth trees are very often confused with evergreen sequoias, popularly known as redwood trees, which are in turn the world's tallest trees. Mammoth trees are truly remarkable. Their height reaches up to 95 meters and the diameter of present. Day trees can be 10 meters. There are known trunks of mammoth trees cut down in the 19th century whose diameter was 12 meters. In terms of height records, mammoth trees are only in third place after evergreen sequoias and royal eucalyptus, but they definitely hold the palm of primacy when it comes to weight and volume. Today's largest mammoth General Sherman tree weighs about 1,200 tons. However, there were even larger specimens in the past. Stand next to any of the great orange, brown trees, look up, and you will feel how small you are. The age of these magnificent trees is also impressive. Large specimens are more than 2,000 years old, and the oldest are estimated to be more than the 3,500 years old. Fire is necessary for mammoth trees to reproduce. Their cones open when exposed to high temperatures, and the seeds germinate and grow best when the area is scorched and there is no competition from other plants. Today, fires in Sequoia Park are not put out, but controlled. Sometimes the rangers themselves cause small fires around the trees because the trees are not harmed by fire. Since you already know almost everything about mammoths, it is high time to start exploring. Already getting to the park will deliver you excitement and aesthetic experiences. Panoramas of the magnificent Sierra Nevada and the precipitous road will not let you get bored. If you are entering the park from the south, be sure to stop at the granite tunnel called Tunnel Rock. Until recently, the road led under it. Today, it is a stunning photo spot. A little further, you will see already mentioned Hospital Rock with precious Indian petroglyphs. Already on the way, you will see first mammoth trees. The very forest in which they grow has an unusual atmosphere. You have the impression that an elf, another magical creature, or stormtroopers on flying motorcycles from Star Wars will appear from behind some boulder or tree. You'll have that feeling for the rest of your visit to the park. To start with, stop at the giant forest. From there, you can take different routes, but first visit the museum and admire the magnificent trees. You'll understand why they are an absolute must-see. Autolog is located nearby. On this lying for years Sequoia, some people were driving until recently. Today, you'd better not try it because the trunk is highly unstable. Instead, climb up to Hanging Rock. This is a lovely spot on the ridge with a large granite boulder. From there, you will see a magnificent panorama of the area and especially the valley. You'll have even more magnificent views from Morro Rock, a granite monolith somewhat reminiscent of those in Yosemite Park. There are 350 stairs leading to the top, some of them really narrow. Returning towards the main road, be sure to drive through another tunnel that is completely unusual. Tunnel log is carved in a fallen mammoth tree. The tree fell in 1937, and it turned out to be easier to cut a hole in it than to remove it. If you want to get to know the giant forest a little better, then head to Tharp's Log, which is the first settler's house made in Sequoia. Also go on a walk around Crescent Meadow by taking the Big Trees Trail. Not only will you see more giant trees, but you will also have a good chance to see a bear. Just remember, don't go near them and don't feed them. These are really dangerous animals. If you have more time, Beetle Rock and Sunset Rock are worth exploring. These are rather easy and very nice routes with which you will reach the granite domes with even more beautiful views. When visiting Sequoia Park, you can't miss seeing the world's largest tree, the General Sherman tree. This is probably the biggest attraction of the place. It attracts real crowds. There is always a long line to take a photo against the background of the tree. There is also a special route prepared for the disabled who can get there easily. This huge sequoia, or rather mammoth tree, is 84 meters high and 1.3 meters in circumference. It is considered the largest tree in the world for a reason. It weighs more than 1,200 tons. Studies show that its age is more than 2,100 years. The giant is doing well and still growing. Once you're done admiring the impressive Sherman, you can head to the Congress Trail. The trail, about 3 kilometers long, winds along some of the largest mammoth trees in the park. Many of them are named after important people. For instance, Washington Tree or Lincoln Tree. Beautiful Toccopa Falls are also worth a visit. This cascade is 366 meters high, and you'll reach it via a lovely 3 kilometers trail through forest and granite cliffs. You may be able to meet woodchucks that frequent visit the area. If you go to the park in late spring or in the summer, you can visit exceptionally beautiful Crystal Cave, open only during this period. It is a guided tour, and it is better to book tickets in advance. This cave, rich in beautiful drippings, is one of more than 240 caves that have been discovered in the park. New ones are constantly being discovered. They were formed in the marbles or crystalline limestone that formed during the formation of the granite batholith that builds the Sierra Nevada mountains today. Sequoia Park is smoothly connected with another national park called the Kings Canyon, which is also full of attractions. The park is open all year round. However, you must remember that it lies at a considerable altitude. It's about 2,000 meters on average, so you have to choose the best time for you. Most tourists come here in summer. Temperatures in the higher areas are also pleasant then, and it's usually not too hot. Spring is a good time, but only from mid-May onward, because before that there is often snow and some roads may be closed. Autumn in the park is beautiful, but you must carefully check park's announcements because even at the end of September, snow can fall there. You can also come in winter, but remember about mandatory wheel chains then. Most tourists come to the park by their own car. This is a good solution, although there can sometimes be a problem with parking. You can enter the park from the south and from the west. The road from the south, that is from the town of Three Rivers, is really winding and picturesque. It provides a lot of excitement to both the driver and the passengers. The one from the west, from the town of Fresno, is less challenging. When going down the park, remember to brake carefully so as not to overheat your brakes as the descents are quite steep. You can also get to the park by bus from Visalia and Three Rivers. It arrives at Giant Forest, and there you can change to free park shuttle. These free buses run around the park from late May to mid-September. They stop at numerous spots, which are located in places from which all attractions are easily accessible. Remember that there is a fee to enter the national park. If you intend to visit more national parks in the US, it's best to buy an annual National Parks Pass. There are also overnight accommodation possibilities in the park. There are both various types of cabins and campgrounds. If you choose this type of accommodation, you must strictly follow the recommendations for behavior here, especially for food storage as the bears try to get the food. If you're already planning your trip, you can find accommodation and tickets to attractions on the spot in the links under the video description. You can also order a card for cheap payments abroad the same way. Press the bell and subscribe to our channel if you want to receive notifications about new episodes. Have a nice trip.